So, with all that said, what advice do you have for other couples, since you are together most of your day? What advice do you have for other couples who are in business together or about to start it?
Well, run. That's the first one. If you're opposite, probably work. I mean, it's working for us because I'm the worker. He's a glamour boy, and he can advertise and sell us. And meantime, I do the work, which is, working for us. So probably if we would both, we just like to go to the parties and sell the business, it wouldn't work because somebody needs to run it actually and be there and make sure the technicians do what they need to be. Or if we would both just be a workers, then there's no people would advertise us. So I think most likely most married couple are married to each other because opposites kind of attract each other. So if they open a business together, I do recommend that one of them, they split up what they need to split up and what one of them like to do, and another one should do the opposite. And take some time for your marriage, otherwise you ended up not going to have any marriage.
Yeah, I'll pick up right off of that. The most difficult thing for us is to really separate when the workday ends and when the personal day begins, or vice versa, because we don't have any other partners. It's just the two of us. We have 40 employees in a very large, what is now a very large business. We started with 3 employees. So there was a lot more personal time. It was a lot easier to disconnect when we started and forget about the business, not talk about the business, than it is today. Today it is, it's this big giant beast that requires a lot of attention, and it's very difficult for us to disengage. I think it's more difficult for me to disengage overtly. I think it's more difficult for Ava to disengage subconsciously because she's there all the time in the rooms doing the treatments. So she's living and breathing it in there. I'm living and breathing it virtually. So it's 2 different ways, 2 different approaches. So I'm able to kind of disconnect and run away to a certain extent a little bit easier, I think. She's viscerally attached to it, and it's much more, it's much more interesting to watch how she wants to do it. That being said, for other, I'm going to kind of parrot what Ava said. Figure out what the strengths are and give certain aspects to each other, and then trust each other to go and make the best decisions that on what you have decided that person's realm should be. I always make the comment that the way we've separated it out, I'll get the people in the door, and Ava keeps them coming back, and that works really well for us. Would we do things differently if we could have a ton of money at the beginning and do everything according to some great big plan? Yeah, we would. We would have probably an overall general manager to take off a lot of the slack and handle a lot of the mundane issues that we currently do. So those are things that obviously other people can take care of and handle. We don't do that, but we don't do that by choice. We're very much of the type, both of us are the type of person that it's difficult for us to let go because we haven't been able to, we've tried that, and the people that we've brought on can't do it as well as we do it. So by trial and error, we have decided that people can't do it as well as we can do it. So we just don't bring anybody else on to do it. Why should we bring somebody on to do it worse than what we can do ourselves? So until we find somebody that can do it better than we can do what we're doing, then we'll continue on to kind of do what we're, putting a lot of effort into it. Try to fine tune a little bit and try to get a little bit more free time. But the first thing you have to realize when you're doing any kind of personal business, there's no free time. So any couples out there or anybody that wants to start a business, there is no free time. So just put the idea of free time out of your head for at least the first 5-10 years. Not going to happen.
Oh, wow. Well, so when you make the decision to have roles, was it off from the beginning that Ava would be inside and Scott would be outside. Was that all made from the beginning to start the business?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it was just kind of you open and it just comes naturally. You see who's doing what better and what's working. And because of you most likely trusting your husband more than anybody else, you trust that that would be the best person to do whenever you guys decided to be. So yeah, I think it was from the beginning.
It was. I mean, Ava is the esthetician. She is the expert in the field. So she knows what to do in the room. She knows what to do in the protocol. She knows how to set up the treatments, and she knows what needs to be done to make the guests have a great experience when they are there on site. On the other side of that, I know how to get people in the door. I know how to keep people engaged. I know how to go out and find new people. I know how to make people respond quickly and feel like they're part of a big group and not just a number. You know, that kind of comes from where my training. I'm trained as a musical theater major, so you know I know how to engage people. Sometimes I engage them a little too much, I've been told, but I'll keep them entertained, and that's a big part of it. So if you can find a way to keep the people entertained when they're not there, then oh my gosh, you're covered on all your bases, because I keep them entertained when they're not there, when they're not at our business, and Ava takes care of them when they are at our business. I was just putting a video together today on how to keep your guests engaged, keep your clients and customers engaged all the time. You know, typical in the spa industry, and other industries are different, but who knows? You know, a normal client and a business will in the spa industry will maybe see a client every 5-6 months, something like that. It's different than hair salons because people have to get their hair cut all the time. But for a spa, especially in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, people think it's a luxury. People don't see it as something that's a necessity. So 6 months every year they come in for their big facial. Well, it doesn't do you any good. You got to get them engaged. You got to educate them and explain to them why they need to take a more proactive approach. We do that, and on average, our people come in about 10, I'd say, what, Ava, 10, 11, 12 times a year. Mm-hmm. So our people, we are, what kind of percentage increase? Is that 1,000% increase?
That's a large.
So, yeah, it's a ridiculously large, it's an exponentially greater return visit that our clients are coming to visit with Ava than they are in the industry average. So that's kind of the benefit of how our partnership works. We've been able to be successful because of that.